Wolfgang, I remember it was years ago, or even decades ago, when you told me that you are a happy workaholic. So, I mean, the fact that you are a workaholic is known to everyone, but you also pointed out those days that you are a happy workaholic. So, are you still happy? So, do you still consider yourself a happy person?
Oh, absolutely. You know, do you remember this? I published an article in Proverbium. You know, I had published the correspondence between Alan Dundes and me.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes.
And then I had found a few more letters. And in one of those letters, I had written about this whole idea that people always said Alan Dundes and Wolfgang Mieder are workaholics. Mm-hmm. Now, you're the psychologist. I think, especially in the professorial profession, people who are productive are easily branded to be workaholics.
Yeah, yes.
It gives the person who is less productive a certain way of coping with that. Mm-hmm. That's one part of the psychology. But the term workaholic can also be used in a more congenial way. It doesn't have to be negative.
Absolutely,
anyhow,
absolutely. Especially if it's used happy workaholic. So I think if it's happy workaholic.
Yeah. And I think that I don't mind at all that people call me a workaholic. I agree with it. You could also use the word obsession if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Or passion actually. Or we can also say that you love your job.
Yeah, that's the point. And I think happy workaholic, yeah, that's exactly what I am. I'm happy in what I'm doing. So why should I not be doing it? I'm not hurting anybody. I'm mm-hmm. still paying attention to my wife, to my dogs, to you. No, I think the word workaholic, if you are a workaholic because you want to be earn more money than everybody else, be successful more than anybody else, well, then I suppose it can be kind of a disease. But if you are doing it out of engagement and commitment and interest and love, what's wrong with it?
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic. I remember when I was maybe about 16 years old, there was a professor in Russia who said that real happiness is when you are very happy when you go to your workplace and when you are very happy when you go back home. So, and actually, and I think this is the way how you live your life.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm happy when I'm home. I'm happy when my father, Anna, was a middle-range bureaucrat in the city of Lübeck. He went to the office all his life with his tie on, with his 2 briefcases, which he didn't have to do, but he brought work home. No bureaucrat brings home work, but my father did. And in a way, I see myself with my 2 briefcases. But my father always went to work happy and came home happy. And I do too. I'm always happy when I come home, but I'm happy if I don't go to the university. Mm-hmm. That's not good for me. Mm-hmm. I like going there. And yes. That's going to be hard for me this next semester, Anna, not being able to go. But I'll deal with it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, workaholic is an interesting term. It really is. But the key word is happy. Mm-hmm. And we have a more colloquial term in English. I'm a happy trooper. Mm-hmm. A trooper is not a policeman, but a trooper is a person in a uniform. A happy trooper means you're just basically a positive person. Mm-hmm. But anyhow, I have never minded people calling me a workaholic. But I do know psychologically that some people use that term in a kind of a kind of saying, well, Anna is a workaholic. That's why she gets so much done. So I don't have to deal with it. That's okay. That's not my problem. You know. But happy. The key word is happy.
Yeah. I also consider myself a happy workaholic. So no.
Yeah, I know you do. I can tell. You don't need to tell me that. I know that. Does that mean that I sometimes don't say this goddamn thing I'm working on? Of course. I mean, sometimes I don't enjoy what I'm doing, but every project has ups and downs. Okay.
Okay. And can you share with us your formula of happiness?
Formula. Well, when I'm talking with my students, you remember many American students, Anna, don't know what they want to study when they arrive here. And many times their parents come, you know, and we get to talking about what they should study and stuff. And I think finding something that interests you, that you feel like you can get involved in making a difference. I remember when I was a student, when I went through two crises, really. Once when I decided not to continue chemistry as my major, that was a crisis of some type. And then when I decided that mathematics was not what I wanted to become a professor in. So in other words, I'm glad I made those decisions, because I think maybe I would have been a halfway decent mathematician, but I didn't think I had enough gift to really do that. So in other words, not pursuing something that you do because someone says if you become a lawyer, you can make good money. Or if you study for an MBA, you have you should study what you feel inclined towards, for which you have a passion. And in today's world, Anna, as far as an undergraduate degree is concerned, whether you major in political science, you can be trained. You know, if you have a brain, you can think, you can analyze. Of course, if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, you got to eventually study law. But the basic university, 8 semesters of a bachelor degree in America, it actually makes very little difference what you major in. If you don't plan to going on to graduate school, that's a different story. So I think finding something that fulfills you, at least to a certain degree. I always have felt sorry for people who went through their whole life hating their job. Yes. And by the way, I want to stress, I am convinced, Anna, that I could be a happy assembly line worker. I would convince myself in what I'm doing is worthwhile. To support my family, to maybe get a little motorboat to go out on the lake. That would be a mistake, I think, to think that people who have jobs that you and I don't want do not feel fulfilled in their work. I think that would be a mistake. You know, I know very, very unhappy professors, by the way.
I know. I also know such professors.
Yeah. So I think brain power, intelligence level, whatever profession, has nothing to do with that. It is making the best out of the work that you happen to have. And of course, Anna, if you really feel not at all fulfilled, then perhaps try something else. You know, I mean, go back to school. I know it's sometimes not possible, but in America, changing jobs is, I believe, still a little bit easier in America than in Europe.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Don't you think? I think I'm right on that.
Yeah. Yes, yes. And I think that people have very different attitudes towards
That's
it.
right. That's right. Yeah. That can have its downside, Anna. Let's just say you come to my office and I have a job I can offer you, and you're all excited about it, and you start, and 3 months later, you quit because someone else offers you 5 cents more an hour. You know, in other words, you know, an employment situation is a two-way street. You know, when I hire you, it is my hope that you will stay. And I think in America now, some people let their jobs go maybe a bit too. I always tell my students, you know, on your resume, I don't think it looks too good if you have, I mean a real job now, Anna, not working for McDonald's. You know, let's just say you take a job at a certain company. It is not a good idea to leave after 3/4 of a year. You try to stay a couple years to at least give me, as your next employer, the idea that you might have had reasons to change, but you didn't change after you just started. So anyhow, those are some thoughts. So